Broadcasting live to Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, and so much more. This is Go Live with Restream from your host, Ian Anderson Gray, the show that helps you expand your audience and reach through the power of multi-streaming video.
Hello and welcome to the Go Live with Restream show. My name's Ian Anderson Gray. This is the show where we help you expand your audience and reach through the power of multi-streaming video. And as always, we're broadcasting to a plethora of different channels, including Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Periscope, Twitch, DLive, Mixcloud. Oh my goodness, so many channels out there. It's very, very exciting. So do not be shy if you're watching live on one of those channels. Let me know. In this show, I'm going to be talking about how you can create a multi-streamed live video show. I'm going to be talking about how you can plan it and how you can use Restream. We're going to go through lots of those things. And also, this is a lot more fun and interactive if you can ask questions and get involved. So that would be absolutely fab. If you could do that, let me know where in the world you're watching from. And as always, if you're watching the replay, welcome. Put hashtag replay in the comments. That'd be really awesome. And if you would like to be notified for next time we go live it is Tuesday today, isn't it? Yeah, Tuesday at 4 p.m. in the UK time, which is 5 p.m. European time. And I think it's 8 a.m. Pacific, if my time zones are all correct. If you want to be notified for next time, all you need to do is go to confident.live/Restream. Confident.live/Restream. Now, I can see some lovely people watching live. I will get back to you very, very shortly. But I just wanted to let you know a little bit more about Restream, which is what I'm using to broadcast this show today. And that's what this show is all about. It's Restream is basically, I would say it's the complete multi-streaming suite for entrepreneurs and marketers and gamers. It allows you to broadcast to a plethora of different channels, allowing you to expand your reach and grow your audience. And there are so many channels that you can broadcast to, including the normal ones like LinkedIn Live, Facebook, and YouTube, but also many, many more that I'm going to be talking about today. So normally I would give you a little bit more about Restream, but in today's show, I'm going to be taking you through the steps on how you can broadcast a multi-streamed live video show. So that's pretty awesome. Right, I'm going to just click on that. I'm going to add some graphics there. I'm using the Restream Studio today. In fact, I've been doing that for the last 2 or 3 weeks. This is fabulous because this allows you to broadcast directly from your browser. It's so easy to use. You can have up to 9 guests on your show, and you can add lots of different graphics and things like that, such as, if I just take myself out, you can see some of the backgrounds. You know, those are basically the backgrounds. And if I had a guest, we would be able to see those backgrounds a little bit more. There's also videos. So, for example, you can upload a video and play a pre-recorded video like this. So it's very easy to do in Restream Studio. You just upload the video directly. You don't just have to upload as well. There's also another feature which I can talk about in a bit, which allows you to play a local video. So you can actually there's a video that's hanging out on your computer, and you can actually just choose that, and Restream Studio will play all of that. But I know I'm getting all techie now, so let's see who we've got watching. We've got DJG watching on YouTube, which is awesome. We've got Mark Orr watching from the UK. Afternoon, Ian. Great to see you, Mark. Hope you're doing well. DJG is watching from Oxford in England. We've got Selvin watching from Trinidad and Tobago. How are things going out there? I hope you're doing well. Randy Mitchell is watching, not sure where you're watching from, but you're watching on YouTube, saying good morning, which is fab. Robert is watching from San Angelo in Texas, I think that is. You have to excuse me, not being from the US. Can you post a list of your equipment used? Where did you get the box for the mic? Cool. That does, what do you say there? Cool that it doesn't seem to be making your voice sound boxy. Yes, we can talk about gear and stuff like that. In fact, you can find out my gear list at iag.me/gear guide. In fact, let me just type this in, iag.me/gear guide. I'm going to add this as a caption, so you should be able to see. Is that working? There we go. And also, I'm going to add that as a comment as well. So let me just type this in. I should have prepared this earlier, but I haven't. So, yes, just a little bit more about that, about my gear, what I'm using. This is a Heil PR40 microphone. It's really, really nice microphone. It's beloved by podcasters all around the world, but also live video people like me. It just makes, I don't know, I just love the sound from this. It isn't a USB mic, though, so you have to plug it in to your computer using a digital audio interface. So I use, what do I use? I use, it is Scarlett, Focusrite Scarlett 2i2. In fact, what I can do, if you're interested, you have to excuse this, but my desk is incredibly messy. But I can show you some of this if I just change my camera. So, okay, so here we go. That's the Heil PR40. And that's that. And then I've got a teleprompter up there, by the way, which I'm just playing around with, which I'm using for the show notes. But the Heil PR40 then plugs into this little baby here, which is the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2. So I'll plug it in there. But I've also got this other box called the DBX 286S. And so this basically is in between my microphone and this does lots of nice things. Like, it's, for example, it's got what's called an expander gate. So you may see that when I'm speaking, it goes green, and when I'm not speaking, it goes red. And so what this is doing is it's cutting the sound off when I'm not speaking, so it gets rid of any background noise. Now, I don't know whether you can tell any difference, but if I, for example, if I just press the process bypass button, that is now just using my normal voice through the Heil PR40. But let's just press it again, and hopefully that's going to enhance things a little bit more. So that's just a little bit more about what I've got there. You don't have to use any of these like the microphone, a fancy microphone, and all that setup. This is I've taken time over years and years to add all of this. If you want to find out more about that, then there's a Restream Go Live with Restream show that I did with Mike Russell a few weeks back, and it's all about how to sound awesome on your live stream. So definitely check that one out, because that will give you more information about that. So anyway, that's a lot of information, Robert, but that's great. Martin says, oh dear, I'm not broadcasting on LinkedIn currently. I thought I was. So that's probably me. Yes, I should be broadcasting on LinkedIn, but maybe I've made a mistake there. So apologies for that, Martin. But thank you for coming over to Facebook and watching that. Michael says, this is Michael from Switzerland. How can I add a ticker to my broadcast? That's a really good question. So at the moment in Restream Studio, there's no facility, I believe. And if any of the guys from Restream are in the comments, maybe you could reply to this. But there's no ability to add a ticker. So at the moment, if I add captions here, I can do things like this. For example, I can turn up the volume. I can do things like that. Don't forget the audience, all that kind of stuff, which I'm going to talk about later. But there's no ability currently to get a scrolling ticker. I'm sure the guys at Restream will be working on things like that. You know, the Restream Studio is still fairly new, but I've been really amazed at all the facilities, all the new features that are being added. So it's a great idea. I'm sure that will be coming at some point. MOMS, it's at Mum's Video, watching from San Francisco. You are up very early. I'm very impressed. Got Rob watching from Winnipeg. Randy from Canada. Hope Church, great to see you in Dallas. That's great. And Kelvin says, he's asking a question. How are you managing comments on Restream from Atlanta? So I hope you're doing really well, Kelvin from Atlanta. How are you managing comments? So in Restream Studio, and I'll show you some of this in a little bit, I can see all the comments. In fact, why don't I just show you that now? So let me just share my screen. Now we're going to get a bit of a funny, we're going to get a little bit of a strange effect here. We're going to get an infinite loop. So because you're seeing what I'm seeing, and yeah, anyway, you get the idea. So let's just do that. My entire screen. Let's put that there. Okay, yeah, there we go. Infinite loop happening there. So it looks really weird. But what I want you to do is look to the right there. So on the left, that is my preview window. And of course, the preview is of a preview of a preview of a preview. But on the right are all your comments that I can see. So I can see Rob there from watching from Winnipeg, Canada. So what I can do is I can click on show for that. And then the comment updates. I can click on Randy's one from there, Hope Church. And then Kelvin's, I can just do that. So I can show, and then I can also hide as well, just by clicking that at the top there. So that's how I can manage that in Restream Studio. If you're using the other thing that you can use is download the chat app for Restream, and that will allow you to do that as well. So a little bit more about that in a bit. But I hope that answers your question. I love questions on the show, so keep them coming. Okay, Randy's asking, is there a delay on the microphone when going through all of that? Really good question. No, actually, there isn't a delay. So it's pretty, because there's not any. Well, there is a little bit of digital encoding going on with the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2, but it's not noticeable. I don't notice anything going on there. So it's really good. And the reason I use the DBX286S. I'm not going to lie to you. It does take a little bit to set up, but the thing I like about it is when you're doing a live stream, you can't really do any like processing very easily. You know, when you're recording for a podcast, you can go back and you can remove noise and you can enhance your voice, but it's very difficult to do that in real time. Whereas that little box does it all for you. It adds some extra resonance to my voice. It gets rid of S's. It's got a de-esser on there, and it also gets rid of the noise, background noise as well, because I've got a laptop fan and other things going on. So that's it's pretty good from that point of view. So what's this? Okay, great. So this is a question from DJG. What do we do about going live on Facebook as a DJ, as Facebook is cutting live streaming? Really good question. And this is all down to the whole area of copyrighted music. YouTube has a really good system when it comes to music and management of licenses and things like that. I'm not going to go into all of that now. There's loads of good resources on YouTube, actually, on the web about this. There's a particularly good video by Tom Scott. So if you search for Tom Scott copyright YouTube, you'll find out all about how the copyright system works on YouTube. Facebook, though, in my experience at least, it seems to be lagging behind YouTube, and there doesn't seem to be an easy way to basically to manage those. It's getting better. There's a brand asset manager on Facebook, but when it comes to playing music or as a DJ, Facebook is tricky. And so I would definitely check out YouTube. It's a little bit easier, but also check out Mixcloud. Mixcloud is aimed at DJs. So if you sign up for the pro account, they basically allow you to stream music. They sort out that licensing for you. And Restream does work with Mixcloud. So I hope that helps. It's a very good question. It's asked a lot, and unfortunately, I haven't really got a particularly good answer for you. Tiffany is watching from Port Lucie. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, in Florida. It's great to see you. Michael watching from Charleston, South Carolina. How can I use my cell phone? So are you wanting to stream from your smartphone? Good question. Now, I haven't tested whether Restream Studio works from your phone, but I believe it does. I believe you can stream from your smartphone using Restream Studio. It's not ideal because obviously you've got limited amount of space, but you can do it. So that's definitely one way of doing it. The other way is to broadcast directly from your Facebook app. Obviously, you don't get all the features that you do with Restream Studio. So I would always recommend ideally doing it from your iPad, or really ideally doing it from a computer. That's what I'm doing today. There's so many more advantages with that. So I hope that helps. Oh my goodness, Sarah Clay is watching on LinkedIn. So it does seem that LinkedIn is working. Hope you're doing well, Sarah. From Highbury, North London, Ooh, like it. So, yes. Great. Okay, so I can see some other great comments coming through. Do keep those questions coming. I'm here to answer all your questions to do with Restream and multi-streaming. And in today's show, I'm going to be talking about how you can create a live streamed or multi-streamed show. And so the first thing that I want to say to you, really, and it takes one to know one, it takes one to know people who like to overthink things, because I'm an overthinker, but keep it simple. If you're just starting off, it's very, very tempting to overcomplicate things. So if you have never dipped your toe in the live streaming world, if you've never actually done a live stream, don't try and go for the fancy equipment like what I've got here. Start off with something really simple. Maybe just start streaming from your smartphone. Go to the Facebook app and start that off. Just start simply and build it up over time. Then what you can do is you can start to play around with maybe 2 channels on Restream. So multi-streaming is the ability to stream to more than one channel at the same time. So if your audience is on Facebook and YouTube, why not just try and stream to those 2 first? Once you've got your confidence, though, you'll be able to, in no time, be able to start to stream to more than one channel. More than 2 or 3 channels and do some really cool things there. So definitely check that out. That's really, really important not to overthink things. Don't overthink things. And then the second thing really is just to choose a tool that makes it really simple for you. So this is why I like Restream Studio, because it is really simple. There are loads of other things you can do with Restream, such as using other tools like OBS Studio or Ecamm Live. And that's really, really cool. But keep it simple first. Restream Studio is awesome because you can bring in guests easily. You can share your screen as you saw me before, and lots of other cool things. So definitely check that out. So don't overthink it is my first thing. Now where's the button here? Oh, hold on a minute. Right, there we go. Right, let's go back to the chat here. So yes, Tiffany says, yeah, I love that you can see where each person is chatting from specific platforms. So I've talked about this before. I mean, you're so right, Tiffany. You're so right, because multi-streaming, say 4 or 5 years ago, it was great. It was cool. It was complicated. I mean, Restream has made it so much easier, but it was difficult to do. But the main problem, my main issue with multi-streaming back then was the audience was fragmented. You couldn't easily see the comments from all those different channels. So you're broadcasting on Facebook and YouTube, but you had to have like 2 tabs or 2 monitors open to see those. If you were multi-streaming to 3 channels, you'd have to have all 3 of them all over the place. And that was really, really complicated. Fragmentation of the comments was a big problem. Because the thing is, one of the most powerful things about live video is not for me to become a one-way communication machine and just to broadcast to all these different channels, but it's to listen to you, to actually interact with my audience. And if you can't interact with your audience on all those different channels, it makes it much more, well, you lose the power of live streaming. But what you can also do with Restream is I can see where everyone is watching from. So I can see that Sarah is watching from LinkedIn. I can see that Tiffany is watching on Facebook. I can see that Randy is watching on YouTube. And that's great because my audience on those different channels is going to be different. My LinkedIn audience will be different to my YouTube audience or to my Twitch audience. And so that's a really, really important thing. So Tiffany, that's a great, great thing to say. We've got a conversation going on here about different places to go to in the world. Kelvin says, so nice, would love to see bringing chat comments into OBS. So it is possible to do that in OBS there are some extra plugins you can use. It's not as ideal though as what you're seeing here in Restream Studio. If you're using Ecamm Live, there's the ability to actually bring in the comments from Restream into Ecamm Live, but that is Mac only. And so there we go. Tiffany is saying, great question here. I see you're wearing an earpiece. Would you suggest to wear headset pieces when going live by yourself? So it kind of depends. If it's just you, and you haven't got any music or anything like that, then you don't need to wear earpieces. The reason I'm wearing these is because I had some music pre-show, and I'm going to have some music right at the end. So I just want to make sure that that's all working really well. I like these headset pieces because they're quite subtle. And so if you go to iag.me/gear guide, you'll actually see. I think I've listed the earphones that I use in that gear guide, so definitely check that out. But yeah, if you're just going live by yourself and you haven't got any guests and you haven't got any music, you don't need to. I'm just so used to wearing earphones that I just do that all the time. So there we go. Katie Simpson is watching on Facebook. Hi, Katie. Hope you're doing really well. It's really nice to meet you last week, or meet you. Hope you're doing really well. I know you do a lot of stuff in the live video world. Great. Okay. Charles asks a question. Want to combine a host and 10-minute video clips on Multistream. How to get no lag. So I'm just wondering what you mean by the lag. So because there's different things going on here. There's always going to be a lag or between what you send out and what everyone sees. And the lag can depend on lots of different things. For example, where in the world you are watching from. It can depend on how powerful your computer is. It can depend on the place that you're broadcasting to. For example, is it Facebook or YouTube? I've noticed that LinkedIn seems to be a little bit slower in sending the stream out, for example. So just bear that in mind. There's always going to be a lag of, in my experience, if I start broadcasting, it's about 8 seconds before my Facebook audience will see it. Sometimes it can be longer, 10, 12, 14 seconds. There's always going to be a lag with that. So it depends on what you're meaning there. I had Steve Dotto on the show, a friend of mine, a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about using live video for webinars. And so one thing that he does is he has a hybrid webinar system. So what he does is he actually records part of it beforehand. So he'll actually create a pre-recorded video. So he'll start live, then what he does is he will talk about a tool that he's reviewing on that week. And so he'll record that previously, and then he'll play that. And while he's playing that, he'll then get in the comments and answer questions live. And then he'll go back to live. So that's possible to do. You can do that. You can load up a pre-recorded video in Restream Studio, and you can also play a local video as well. So if we go back to here, I can show you at the bottom. Now, hold on. Let me just press that button. Okay, sorry, we're getting the infinite loop effect there. But at the bottom of Restream Studio, we've got a few features here. We've got the mute button, so I can mute myself, which I'm not going to do right now. I can disable my camera. I can also share my screen. And at the moment, I'm sharing my screen. I can add a guest, so I can invite guests onto the show. All I need to do is click on that, and I will be given a web link, a URL that I can then send out to guests that come on the show. All they need to do is put that into their browser, whether it's on desktop or even on their phone, and they can do that really easily. But this is the cool thing. This is something that I didn't really play around with until recently, and this is the ability to play a local video. And so this could be a video on your computer that it might be quite long, but you could basically allows you to play this very, very easily. So yeah, check that out. And then finally, we've got the settings. So this allows you to just check your video output and input and things like that. So definitely check that out. Okay, cool. Right, so let's go back here. And okay, cool. Right, let's see if there's any other questions here. Okay, so question here from Day One Media. Can I stream to my clients' Facebook and YouTube accounts simultaneously without their actual logins? And so if it's on Restream Studio, you will have to get them to add that into your Restream Studio. You have to be able to authenticate that, or you have to give permission for those channels to be added to your account. So definitely check that out. That's really important. So you can't do that directly, but you could do it other ways. So for example, you could do RTMP and things like that. But what I would do is I would ask them to add it to your Restream account. So basically give them access and ask them to add the YouTube channels and the Facebook channels to your Restream account. And then, yes, you can absolutely do that, which is cool. We got, fabulous. We got Challenge ITV watching from Vietnam again. Great to see you. Hope you're doing really well. Paolo says, I have bad internet and CPU and cannot modify the preferences in Restream. Is it possible to change this in the future? So I'm wondering what the issue is there for you, Paolo. Are you using Restream Studio and you're having problems? I mean, certainly what you can do is make sure that you don't have 1080p selected. So one of the great things about Restream Studio is you can now broadcast in full HD. But if you've got a slower computer and not so good internet, you will not want to do that. You'll want to do 720p. So yeah, I mean, it just will be a case of trying that out. I mean, Restream does a pretty good job at optimizing video for your internet connection, and I know they're working on that all the time. So yeah, my advice is just keep trying, and if you've got problems, then just speak with the Restream support team, and I'm sure they'll help you out. Definitely, they will help you out. Katie says, I tried to stream with Restream and Facebook and YouTube was a pain and didn't seem to work. I have to admit, I haven't had any problems with it. Do make sure that you have enabled YouTube Live and that's all working, and just do a few tests. So what I would do is just do a few tests on YouTube, make sure it's all working okay. Yeah. Great. Okay, cool. So Mark Orr says, what equipment did you use when you first started live streaming? Really good question. And I meant to actually say that earlier, Mark. So do I have my mic? No, I don't have it here. I think my wife has taken it away. But my first, I had a very old PC laptop. It was a Dell Studio laptop. And I think I got it in 2010. It's still downstairs. It's still working well. The kids are using it, but it was a dual core PC laptop. I used one of these. Where's it gone? This is beloved by a lot of people around the world. I still use them today. This is a Logitech. If it gets in focus, come on, get in focus, please. It's a Logitech C920 webcam, and it works really, really well. These are very inexpensive. Reasonably inexpensive, although obviously it depends on where you find them in the world. But yeah, I used one of those, and I used a Blue Yeti microphone, and that worked really well. I used that for years and years and years, and it wasn't really until this year that I upgraded my camera. Last year or the year before, I upgraded my microphone. So I'm a big believer in bootstrapping your live video studio. Don't let the gear and the tech get in the way. If you're interested in an inexpensive microphone, the one I would recommend is the Samson Q2U, SAMSON Q2U. And again, that's in my gear guide at iag.me/gear guide. Cool. So that's a great question. Alec Dorling is watching on YouTube. Hope you're doing well, Alec. Great to see you here. How did you make the microphone box with logo? So somebody asked me this question earlier. If you go to iag.me/gear guide, you'll find out how I got this. So I didn't make this. My DIY skills are about as good as, well, put it this way, they're not very good. I actually bought this, and I bought it from a company. Let me see if I can find it, because I'm going to forget. So it's a company in America, and it took ages. So this was in the middle of the lockdown, and it took about a month. I think the delivery dates will be a lot quicker now. But yeah, let me just, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen again. So hopefully you can see this okay. So there we go. So this is my gear guide, and let's just go down. So those are my cameras and microphones. And if we go down here, so we've got, that's my HAL PR40 microphone. But further down here, mic flags. There we go. So I got this from Impact PBS. And so with what I would do with Impact PBS is, so you just do a search for Impact PBS, and ask and tell them which microphone and stand you've got, and they'll help you find the right size for this. So I said that I had a HAL PR40, and then you just upload the graphics to Impact PBS. You send that to them, and they'll do it all for you. And it's really, really good quality. Not mega expensive either. I'm just very, very impressed with this. So I need to get one that has Restream on it, actually. So maybe we can sort that out, and I'll have the nice Restream logo on there. So that's basically that. Okay. What other questions have we got here? Oh, well, this looks interesting. So Selvin says you can use Camerify Live on your mobile phone and sign in with your Restream account. But now I use the Larix Broadcaster for my low RAM Nexus 5 phone. My goodness, you got a Nexus 5 phone. I've still got my Nexus 5 phone, but it's died a death. So you're using that. Are you using the camera of that and then bringing that into Restream? Are you using that with Restream Studio? Just really interested. I love to hear what people are using. Laura is here. Laura, great to see you. Laura Pence is here. So hi, Ian. Great to see you there. Michael says, can you do it on PlayStation 4 or not? In all honesty, I don't know. That's a really good question. I wonder whether the guys from Restream will be able to answer that. I feel the answer's no, but I could be completely wrong. Okay, so let's get back to what I was talking about before. So let's hide those comments. Where are we now? So we talked about not forgetting your audience. That's really, really important. Don't forget your audience. That's, if you're broadcasting to all these different channels, you need to remember to communicate with your audience and answer their questions. That's one of the most powerful things about multi-streaming. Well, let's talk about some of the things that you can do in terms of planning your show. Okay, so let's go back to here, and I'm going to, hopefully you can see this okay. Oh, my goodness, I didn't mean to do that. I need to do that, and I'm going to do that so you can see me. Fabulous. Right, so the first thing that I would recommend doing is planning your show. So this is my show plan for my Confident Live marketing show, and I've also got a one for this show as well. So I like to write down here all the things about my show so that I know why I'm doing it. So I've got a summary there of what the show is about. I've also got who is my audience. So I know exactly who I'm talking to. That's really important. So you've got to have an idea of who your audience is and who you're trying to attract there. Then I've got a little bit about why I'm doing it. I've got an intro, an outro as well. And then this is something that I've talked about before. I think it's really good to have themes for your show. So for my other show, I've got 3 themes. For this show, I've got 1 theme, which is all about using multi-streaming to increase your reach and grow your audience. So that's really important too. So having a show plan, I think, is really good just before you even start broadcasting so that you know why you're doing it. And particularly when it comes to the audience, putting that down is going to be really helpful because then you'll know where you're going to multi-stream to. Then the next thing that I would do is create a process list. Now, this is my process list in Asana. I've been doing this for years, and so this is probably going to be completely overkill for what you want to do. But I've got things like, I've got a process for bringing in the guests, for using Calendly and things like that. I've got pre-promotion bits. I've got a production bit here, so how I actually deliver it. I've got post-promotion, how I turn it into a podcast, how I turn it into a blog, and that kind of thing. So if you're interested in this, I can do a whole show on this about basically how I do my whole system. But planning that, having a process is going to be really, really important. Then, for every show that I do, I have show notes. So here is the show notes for this episode here. So I've got my intro there. I've got a script, which I have in bullet points. And that's actually incorrect. It's number 10 today. Not that it really matters. I've actually got this up on a teleprompter. You don't need a teleprompter. You can just print it out like that. But that's really, really good so that you know exactly what you're going to be talking about there. So having that is really good. I've also got a Google Sheet here, so I know every episode what it's going to be about. I know who my guest is. I know what my theme is and things like that. So that's really important. So yes. Now, when it comes to Restream, You can do lots of cool things here. So let's just find out how I can do this. So the first thing I would look at doing is scheduling your live show. And you can do this in Restream really easily. There's lots of different ways of going live in Restream. So one thing that you can do is you can go, oh, it's actually redirecting me to the live event. Maybe I can't do this. Maybe I can't actually show you this, but let's see what I can do. So what you should be able to do is go to the scheduler. Let's see if it's going to work for me. It might redirect me to the live event. But here we can create a live event. So let's just create this. So I'm going to just create a test event, test live video. And then you can put a description in there. I'm going to go live on Wednesday at 6 p.m. And the advantage with scheduling your live show is that you can then let everyone know. You can send it out to your email list. You can send it out on social media. You can let your audience and your community know, which is really good. You can also upload an image here as well, which I'm not going to do now, but you can upload a thumbnail, which will show up to the 3 channels that you can currently schedule to. So you can schedule to Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Although I think LinkedIn's coming soon. It's still in a closed beta. So you can do that. But the great thing about Restream, although you can't technically create a scheduled live video post to all the other channels, when you go live, finally, to the scheduled event in Restream, it will create, you will basically go live to all those different channels. So let's click on next. And this is where the magic happens. So I can go live to all these different channels. I can go live to my pages, Restream channels, my test channel there. I can go live to LinkedIn, to Periscope, to Twitch, to VK. I think that's DLive, Africa TV, and a few other ones there. Now, what I can then do is I can edit each one, and I can add, for example, I can have a different description, a different title, and a different cover image for each one. You can also change the privacy. So if you're doing testing, you could change the privacy on the YouTube video to private, which is really good. Once you've done that, so the other thing to remember is you can also deselect the ones that you don't want to go live to. Once you've done that, you just click Create Event, and you're good to go. So that's pretty cool. I hope that helps when it comes to scheduling. So scheduling's really, I think, you don't have to schedule your live shows, but I think if you want to create, a live show that has your audience knowing when you're going to go live each week, I think that makes a lot of sense to do that. So that is scheduling. Cool. Right. So let's have a look what other questions we've got here. Okay. So this was a comment from Christian, who says, when I start streaming with YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, I want to send watchers to YouTube channels and then let them select the live video there, but the live is not visible. Ooh, that's weird. So what's going on there? Is the problem on YouTube that you're broadcasting to YouTube and it's not working? When you're broadcasting to all those different channels, it's good to give people the choice. You know, some people might want to watch it on YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook. And it makes sense that if you're on Facebook, then let people know about the video on Facebook. If you're posting on Twitter, you can make the decision to send them to any of your channels that way. But there seems to be some issue here with YouTube for you. I'm not entirely sure. I would just double check that. If you've got any issues, contact support. But you can't send them to YouTube and then ask them then to select where they're going to go live. You have to send them the specific link to either YouTube or Facebook first before you do that. Sean is here. Hi, Sean. Hope you're doing well. Hola. IAG, hope you're watching. Hope you're doing really well. Carlos is saying cool. Laura says it does look quite nice. I don't know what you're referring to there. Oh, is it maybe the mic flags? So Sean says micflags.com, and Sean also says impactpsb.com. Thank you for that. Okay, great question that we get asked a lot from can you go live to Instagram? So the only way legitimately to go live to Instagram is through your phone, through the official Instagram app. There are other ways to do it, and you can broadcast to Instagram Live from Restream if you use third-party tools out there. There's Yellow Duck, and there's I can't remember, is it Lula TV? I personally don't recommend that. And this is just my personal opinion, because I'm not a lawyer, but I've looked at the Instagram terms and conditions, and it doesn't want you to use a tool that has reverse engineered the API. And I just feel if you're going to broadcast to Instagram Live, and if Instagram were to find out that you were doing it, they could ban you from the platform. It's probably unlikely, but it's just not something that I personally advocate. So it is technically possible, but you do have to use a tool that has reverse engineered the API, and it's not something I'd recommend. Day one says, for a multicam setup, what is the best way for the person on camera to visually monitor himself without the lag? Well, it kind of, so I currently, yeah, there's always going to be a bit of a lag. It kind of depends if you're using if you're using another tool like OBS Studio or Ecamm Live, there shouldn't be much of a lag really. But you could also just use, just check your camera in another app first. It's a good question. But what I tend to do is if I'm worried about any lag, I will broadcast a test video first. So I will broadcast it maybe to a testing Facebook group that I have, or to a YouTube video that has the settings, the privacy settings to either private or unlisted. Good question. Okay, so this is what Sean says, replying, it's against, okay, so yeah, Sean, you agree with me. It's against IG's terms of service. Using things like Yellow Duck and Lula TV can get you banned. I mean, that's my view. I would agree with that, and I just wouldn't. I don't think it's worth it. So it is technically possible. Okay, so Travis says, so Restream, can I stream on separate social media platforms easily? Absolutely. So I showed you how to do that. Use it, how to schedule it. But let's look at how you can do it if you're not going to actually schedule it. So let's go back to, I wonder whether this is going to work. Let's see. Okay, this might go weird, so let's just see what's going to happen. It says I'm going live. It's going to redirect me. Okay, I might not be able to show you this, but basically, if I can choose that and then go to, it's redirecting me to the channel, but I can hopefully, if I go to the enter the studio, it's going to work. Might not work this because I'm already broadcasting. Okay, right. So what you would do here is go to setup. I'm just checking this isn't going to cause any problems. It might do. This is the problem. We're doing too many things at the same time. Okay, so what I can see here, I can type in my title here and my description, and then I choose where I want to go live to. So I'm going to just put in my description there, and then I can update all of those channels here. So I'm updating all. So I've currently selected Twitch, but I could also select Facebook. I could also select Periscope, and I could select LinkedIn Live there at the bottom. It's lagging a little bit because I'm running too many things at the same time. But yeah, so I've selected those. Now it's just a case of clicking the go live button, and I will go live to all those channels at the same time. It's really, really easy to do that using Restream Studio. So that is how you do that. Let me just go back to, let's actually just close that down. Let's click the right button. Right, that's closed down, and let's go back to here. Just make sure I don't actually shut down this stream. So yeah, that's how you would do that. But there is another way that with Restream, which is for more advanced users. So if you're happy to use a tool, a third-party tool like OBS Studio, or I don't know, vMix, or Ecamm Live, or something like that, you can broadcast to Restream using RTMP. So this is, you're sending a stream to Restream, and then Restream will then stream that out to all those different channels, which is pretty good. So that's something that you can also play around with. So I hope that helps, Travis. Katie says, that process sounds helpful, I'm glad to hear it. Christian says, please share the Asana checklist. So I think probably what I'll do, if that's okay, Christian, is I'll share that on another live, because there's so much detail there. And if you go back to some of my previous live shows, I can't remember which one it was. I think I did go through that in some detail. So check out one of my earlier ones, and I go through the process of how to do that, which I hope will help. But my setup will be different to yours. I think really what it is, it's a case of having a tech checklist of all the things that you need to remember to do before you go live, such as, for example, check your internet speed, check your microphone and your audio, and all those kind of things. But yeah, definitely happy to share some more of that in the future. Laura says, looks like my podcast notes. Glad to see I'm not the only one. So I think this is from before. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit behind on these. Sean says, a scheduled post to Facebook breaks comments in Ecamm. Has this been fixed? Oh, Restream scheduled post to Facebook break comments on Ecamm. So good question, Sean. So Ecamm Live is a third-party tool. One of the cool things about it is you can connect Ecamm Live with Restream. And if you're just going live straight away, the great thing is Restream. So you go live, you send the signal from Ecamm Live to Restream, and you'll go live. And Restream takes care of all of that. But not only that, Restream will send all the comments back to Ecamm Live, and you can then highlight them on the screen, which is really, really cool. But the new scheduling feature in Restream is different. It's a whole different system. So it's not that it's broken, it's just a completely new system. And so hopefully that will come, the ability to be able to use Ecamm and Restream with scheduling and bring in the comments as well. So hopefully that will come. So it's not broken, but it's coming. Sean also says the YouTube issues with scheduling is probably because they didn't select the event in Restream settings. You need to change. Oh, okay. You need to change to create new in the name of the scheduled YouTube events stream. Yes. So this kind of depends on how you're doing it. So if you're doing it the traditional method in Restream, you would have to create a new, you'd have to go into edit by YouTube and create new. So you actually have to create a new YouTube event. So that might be the problem. But with the scheduling feature, it's a lot easier. Actually, you just create a new one that way. So I hope that helps. Okay, let's look at if there's any. So Christian says, no, I want to send a generic link to the YouTube channel to my email list and not change it for. Oh, okay, not change it for each week's show. If I send them to the channel page, it does not show until later, not while it is live. Great. Okay, Christian, I see what you're saying there. So you want to send a link to that will update every time you've got a new live video. The way I would do this, if you have a service, you could. I mean, I use a WordPress website, so there's a plugin called a redirection. And so, for example, I could have like iag.me/live. I mean, that's not an actual link. But if you were to, in there, I would go into redirection and I would change the redirection to that, to my next live stream, my next scheduled live stream. And then when that's gone, when that's finished, and my next one is scheduled, I'll then go in and I'll update that. Now, there's another thing that you need to do with that. You need to change it from a permanent redirect to a temporary one, so that every time you change it, it will update. That's a bit of a techie one. If anyone's got a techie way of doing it, if anyone's got any really bright ideas on how you could do that, I would be very interested in that. Okay. So is it Irving says, can you go live with Restream on Facebook? So you can certainly go live to Facebook. I'm broadcasting to Facebook now. You can broadcast to your Facebook page, your Facebook group, your and also your personal profile as well. The free plan will allow you to go live to your profile. If you want to go live to your page, you'll need to go for a paid plan. But yeah, Irving saying after October the 1st. So I'm not entirely sure what is going on there. Ken from Ecamm said to be a guest on your show and steal your list. Oh, there we go. Well, Sean, it'd be great to have you on my show. You can steal my list. Yes, that's fine. Great. Okay, cool. So where are we next? Let's we've got a few extra things to talk about. So yeah, so we've talked about scheduling in Restream. You can schedule really easily. You can choose 30 different destinations as well, which is amazing. And there are so many different ones. So don't just focus on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. There's Periscope. If you've got Periscope isn't as popular as it used to be, but if you've got a really big audience on Twitter, it's definitely worth considering. If you're a DJ and you're involved with music, check out Mixcloud, which is a new thing. There's other more focused platforms on gaming. So there's, as well as Twitch, which is not just for gaming, by the way. There's ones like DLive and things like that. So the great thing about Restream, it allows you to experiment and to play around with all those different things as well. We've also talked about my planning document, and we've also talked about my gear guide as well. And the most important thing is to keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate things. But the great thing with Restream is there's a free plan and you can play around with these things. And so that's what I definitely recommend doing. So that's great. Sean says, so thank you so much for all your tips. Sean says, use Rebrandly, which I don't know about, or Bitly, to do the same weekly branded link, temporary redirect. So Sean, do you know whether, I haven't used Bitly for a while, can you set up a temporary redirect in Bitly? If you can, that's awesome. And we can use that. Rebrandly, I assume, is another service like that. So I use it on my website because I just like to have everything in there. But there we go. Irving says, so I don't know about this, Irving. Irving says, if you are a DJ and stream live after October 1st, you will get banned going through Restream to Facebook. So I don't know whether this is an issue with Facebook and the issue with the copyrighted thing. So I would just check out going live somewhere else like Mixcloud or YouTube, and make sure you have the right licensing. I don't know any more about that. We'll have to check. But I mean, you could also check with the Restream team. But I think that is a Facebook issue. Whether you'll get banned, I don't know. Certainly, there's been an issue with streams getting cut short. So if there is a change, I'm afraid I don't know anything more about that. This is exciting. I love this. The gamification in Restream. Congratulations, you've received 100 messages today with Restream chat. So thank you so much, everyone watching. It's been great, a great discussion here. And thank you so much for all your comments. So I think that's really the end of it today. If you've got any other final questions, please put them in the comments. If you've got any other thoughts and stuff. And also, if you've got any thoughts on the topics that I can talk about on the show, this is all to do with multi-streaming. It's Q&A, but it's also, we can do a deep dive into some other things that we can do. And I've got some amazing guests coming up. I'm not going to tell you who they are, but I've got some fabulous guests coming up in the next few weeks. So I can't wait to share them with you. That's going to be great. Christian says, you done good. Thank you. It's awesome. And Sean says, reply. So Mixcloud and Twitch, we do a weekly DJ live streaming Q&A. We talk about this a lot. So yeah, definitely, I would agree with that. Twitch and Mixcloud. I really like Mixcloud. It's really, really very good for the music industry. So if you're a DJ, you don't have to worry about any of that kind of stuff. And yes, thanks, man. It's great. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching the show. It's been awesome. Do check out the other live shows on the Restream channel. There's one almost every single day. So definitely check out that on the YouTube channel. And as I said before, if you want to be notified for next time, all you need to do is go to confident.live/Restream. Let me write it on. I should have done this before. confident.live/Restream. And you can also grab my confidence guide. So if you go to that, my Facebook Messenger bot will kick into action, will allow you to get notified for next time. And you can also download my live video confidence guide so that you can be more confident in front of the camera, because it can be a little bit scary, to be honest. So there we go. Fabulous. Great. Well, thank you so much, everyone. It's been awesome to see you here. But I think it's time to finish there. So until next time, I encourage you to embrace the power of multi-streaming so that you can grow your audience and increase your reach. Until next time, see you soon. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Go Live with Restream from Ian Anderson Gray, the show from Restream that helps you expand your audience and reach through the power of multi-streaming video. Visit iag.me/Restream for more. And until next time, toodaloo.